Welcome everyone to this video. I'm Nehemiah, a software engineer, and today I'm going to be focusing on deploying the backend to AWS EC2. So today I'll make sure I explain to you everything, okay, concerning what EC2 is and how to install Docker, how to install Docker Compose on a machine, how to configure the security, okay? And like always, in case of any challenge, yeah, you'll see me debugging it and trying to resolve it. So the goal of today's session is to show you how to deploy this. Of course, later I'm going to make sure my frontend consumes this, okay, API, but this is like a first step in preparation for a CI/CD pipeline, okay, as I try to explore different platforms that I can use for deployment. Okay, so let us carry on and start. So I'll go to my browser to AWS. Okay, so if you don't have an AWS account, make sure you log in. AWS actually has a free tier, okay, where you can create an account for free. Okay, so of course they'll ask you to put in your credit card, okay, but they won't charge anything. Okay, they won't charge you anything, and you'll have it free for 12 months. So create an account on AWS, and then I want to show you what to do. Okay, so of course initially when you log in, it will be something like this. Okay, let me can I go to this dashboard? Let me go here and say AWS console. Okay, I see Linus. I'm back after being held up a bit. I will catch up with the streams as we move. Yeah, actually, I think I noticed you were off recently, because recently we had a stream where there was a lot of chit chat, and when I didn't see in the chat, I knew uh, you were not on board. But I hope all is going well, Linus, and welcome back to the journey. Okay, of course, I know you'll catch up. You have a strong mindset. So let's continue. Okay, so when you go to the console, okay, if I don't need to sign in, I don't think so, because I've already signed in. Okay, so you see this is how your console will look like. Okay, and for people like me who have used the console before, they'll show things I have recently visited, like EC2, VPC, IAM, S3, etc. Okay, so AWS has so many services that you can actually use. Okay, but for me today, I'm going to only use EC2. So in case you want me to find it, you can simply do a search. Okay, say EC2 like that. Then you click. Okay, so what is EC2? It is simply a virtual server. Okay, so EC2 simply gives you a virtual server. And what is interesting, I've actually forgotten EC2 in full. It's actually an abbreviation. This is Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, so EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Let me try to expand this. And it is simply a virtual server. So what is a virtual server? Assume, not assume, let us say you have your computer, okay? Your computer is called a physical machine, okay? And on your machine, on your laptop, your desktop, you can install a server software, okay? Like maybe Microsoft Windows Server, okay? To turn your machine into a server, okay? Using the normal Mac OS or using the normal Windows that you have, Windows 10, you cannot turn your computer into a server. It cannot be a server, okay? So to make it a server, you need to install an operating system which turns your computer into a server. There's specific operating system for servers. So when you install that operating system on your machine, your computer turns into a server, okay? And that would be a physical server. But also, we have what they call virtual servers, okay? So AWS creates virtual servers using this EC2 service, okay? So somewhere in the world, like for example, if you look at this, if I open this, no, this, you see it shows US East to Ohio, okay? I'm using servers in this region, okay? Ohio, US East 2, okay? So in Ohio, US East 2, on ground, okay, in their buildings, there's actually what? Servers, okay? But I'm accessing them what? Virtually, okay? I'm accessing them virtually. And accessing them virtually from my machine does not only make them virtual, but what actually makes them virtual is that they are being uh, created using something called a hypervisor. Okay, so a hypervisor is a tool which allows you to have an operating system on top of an existing operating system. Okay, so if I'm just maybe to explain this so you understand this in detail. Okay, let me open tldraw.com and I make sure you understand this. Okay, so just a bit of explanation, then we continue, okay, into the deep concepts. So your computer looks like so. Okay, assuming this maybe I need the drawing tool. Assuming this is probably, let us say, like a computer. Okay, so what happens? Let me reduce this. So if this is your computer, okay, I want to pick this other one and I rub this. So I'll pick the pencil again. So if this is your computer, okay, and your computer by default has, let us say, Windows, okay, you have Windows installed on your computer. So I want you to understand everything, not just cramming the deployment, okay? You're going to understand everything better. You have Windows. On top of this, you need something called a hypervisor, okay? This is what enables you to do the virtualization, okay? A hypervisor, okay? Hypervisor. And on top of this, you can have, for example, something else, okay? Like, for example, maybe Linux, okay? Running, okay? And why would you do this? Because actually you have a lot of space, okay? You have a lot of space. Let's say maybe your Windows machine has around 100 GB, okay, of storage, and maybe you want to, and for you maybe you're only using about 10 GB, okay. So the balance is 90 GB, and you want to share the 90 GB, okay. So you can install a hypervisor, okay, and do virtualization, and someone will have a Linux machine, okay, which will be running using your hardware via the underlying Windows operating system, okay? And maybe you can give this person maybe about, say, 5 GB, okay? And they pay for it, okay? Another person can come here, maybe with maybe, I don't know, Mac, okay? Well, you want to give them Mac, okay? And you tell them maybe I'm going to give you 3 GB, okay? And you make them to pay, okay? So each of these, okay? Each of these, the Mac and the Linux are unique, independent machines on this, okay? On this. So these are the virtual machines. These are virtual machines. These two are virtual machines. So when I come here uh, to the EC2 dashboard, I am able to create a virtual machine. So to create a virtual machine, I'll simply come here to instances. Okay, so on instances, I click. Okay, after clicking, I go to now this button which says launch instances. Okay, so maybe I need to zoom out a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to give some names and tags. Okay, maybe I can call it arrow bound, something like arrow bound server. Can I name it better? Yeah, let me just leave it like that. Okay, arrow bound server. So this is the name. Okay, after that we now need to get the Amazon machine image. This is actually the virtual machine we're going to have. Okay, so like you see here, you can choose Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat, etc. Okay, or search for what you want, but I will go with Ubuntu. Okay, and under Ubuntu they have this free tier. Okay, eligible, meaning it is free, they won't charge us. Okay, and I will leave it. Of course, if you want anything better, you can always come here. Okay, you can scroll or search if you know the name and pick it. But for me, I'm going with Ubuntu server. Okay, after that, of course, they show you the description. I'll continue. I'll leave the architecture the same. Okay, so look, look at the username, okay? You have to take note of the username, okay? It is Ubuntu. We are going to use this username when accessing our virtual machine, okay? When we go back, you look at the instance type, okay? I'll leave it also to a free tier, but if you want to change, you can come here, okay? And you look at several, okay? And they'll tell you the pricing, the memory, okay? Like the one which I'm using, you see, has two CPUs. They say two vCPU, 1 GB memory, okay? And they told you the pricing, okay, per hour. So take note of the things. If you want something better, you come here and search and get. For example, you can see this one here. C5X large has 4 vCPU, 8 GB memory, okay? And different pricing per hour, okay? So take note of these kind of things. After that, I'll need a key pair, okay, for logging in, okay? I have Redis. Do I have any? Okay, I don't have, so I'm going to create, okay? So I'm going to click this saying create key pair, okay? And I'll need a key pair name. I'll call it arrow bound key pair, okay? Key pair, just like that, okay? Arrow bound ventures, the name of the application I'm building, the company name I mean. Arrow bound ventures key pair, like that, okay? And I'll leave it as a .pem, and I'll say create key pair, okay? And then I save it, okay? So take note of the location where you have saved it, okay? Personally, I know where it has been saved, okay? It has been saved in my home directory. So after you've created the key pair, because the key pair is going to help us to access the machine. After that, we now continue to the network settings, okay? So the network settings, you know, like AWS is very key on security, okay? And can ask you, it needs to know how you're going to access your machines, okay? And the easiest way to access your machine is using SSH, okay? So I can, when I check SSH, okay, it asks me to choose the option. Do I want a custom IP address? Do I want from my current IP or anywhere? Okay. For now, I'll leave it on anywhere. But ideally, you'd want to put your custom IP or your IP. Okay. Right now, I'm going to leave it as anywhere. Okay. Then it says allow HTTPS traffic from the internet. Okay. This is something we can enable. Say allow HTTP traffic from the internet. This is something we can also enable. Okay. So let us continue. Sorry about that. Okay. Someone was calling me. Let me just respond to them. Okay. Let's now continue. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. So for now, yeah, let's allow only HTTP. Later, I want to show you how to allow also HTTPS. Okay, I'm going to show you that. And like you say, I think this option says create security group. Okay, so security groups in AWS enable us to control. So think of it as a firewall. Okay, a firewall controls incoming traffic and outgoing traffic. Okay, in AWS we use security groups to control incoming traffic and outgoing traffic for our servers. Okay, so in the same way, okay, AWS has what they call inbound rules. So the inbound rules are the configuration or the rules you set for incoming traffic. Then they have something called outbound rules. The outbound rules are the rules you set for rules going outside AWS. Okay, so if you have already your rules set in a security group, you can select an existing security group or create a new security group. And they're saying they're going to create a new security group called Launch Wizard 2. So again, I'll explain. They are creating for us, they want to create for us a new security group called Launch Wizard 2. What is a security group? A security group is simply a collection of rules which determine what happens to incoming traffic, okay, meaning requests coming to our machine, okay, to our application. And also it has what they call outbound rules, which determine the rules for traffic leaving our machine to the external world. Okay, so the external world to our machine in AWS, that is inbound. Then outbound is what is in our machine coming outside to the external world. Okay, so I'll leave HTTP traffic for now, and I'll show you how to change to HTTPS, okay? Then configuring storage, I'll leave it at 8 GB, okay? And yeah, for now, this is good enough. And then I'll say launch instance. So they say, please wait while we launch your instance. Do not close your browser while this is loading, okay? So if you look at this, it has been successful, okay? It says initializing requests, creating security groups, creating security group rules, launch initiation, okay? So everything has worked out fine, okay? And now we can go to view all instances, okay? So you see I have one which was terminated, but this is the one I created. You remember this? Called error-bound server, okay? So now we need to access it. How can I access it? I can just click on it like this, on the ID, okay? And it has the public IP version 4 address, okay? But now we need to enter inside this server and start deploying our application. So to do that, I am going to copy this address, okay? This public address, okay? Like this. So you click this to copy it, okay? After copying it, go to your terminal. So I'm going to my terminal, okay? And I'm going to use a tool called SSH, okay? So if you say man SSH, okay? It can tell you what SSH is all about, okay? Says SSH remote login client, okay? So SSH is a tool which is going to help us to log into AWS, okay? So to log into AWS, I'll say SSH, okay? Then I, okay? Then I think it's minus I. Then I specify the key pair. Remember, we downloaded the key pair, okay? And I give it a name. So you have to remember that name. That name is in my current directory. So I'll specify it, okay? You see, it's called airbound ventures key pair.pem. Do not share this file with anybody, okay? It's supposed to be a secret. Then after that, I'll specify the name of the machine on AWS. Remember, I told you to take note of it. It's called Ubuntu, okay? Then after that, we put an at, then the IP address, okay? Let me just zoom out a little bit so that it fits in one line, okay? So SSH is simply a tool which helps us to log in remotely, okay, to our machine on AWS. Minus I is for identity, meaning the identity file. What's an identity file? An identity file is a file having secrets or credentials for logging in, okay? And we created it on AWS and it's called airboundventures.pem, okay? In your case, of course, it could have a different name depending on what you named it, okay? After that, we specify the name of the server of the machine, okay? Which is the username, of course. I mean the username of the machine, okay, is Ubuntu, and then at the host, this IP address, okay? So username at this host. So if I hit enter, you're going to see something interesting, okay? It says the authenticity of this host can't be established, okay? They say the key is not known by any other names. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? I will type yes, okay? I want to continue connecting and hit enter. And it says, warning, this one has been added to the list of known hosts, okay? So, but down here, you look at it, says this key has bad permissions, okay? So I'm going to change the permissions of the key, okay? Because it wants, read this, it says permissions for airbound ventures keypair.pem are too open. It is required that your private key files are not accessible by others. How do we do this? Okay, to do this by using a command called chmode. Okay, I'll say chmode 400. Then I say arrowbound ventures pem. Okay, then I hit enter. Okay, and I'm going to explain that command in a minute. Okay, so when I now SSH, okay, you're going to see, look at the terminal, it's going to change from this, okay, to something else. Are you seeing? We're now in the machine, okay, and it has worked very well. And simply just to explain to you chmode, and before that, I can actually exit out of this machine. So if I type exit, you see connection to this machine at this IP address has been closed, and I'm back to my terminal. Okay, so to explain to you that chmode is simply a command used for defining permissions of directories and files. How does it work quickly? Okay, if I come here to tilde quickly, we have what they call we have read, okay, write, and execute permissions. Okay, so read is 4, okay, write is 2, and execute is 1. So all of them must add up to 7. So this is 4 plus 2, 6 plus 1 is 7, must add up to 7. Okay, so when you see a number like 400, okay, 400, it means that the 4 is for reading. Okay, it's allowing someone to read. Okay, so this first number is for the owner. Okay, the owner of the file. Okay, says this person is allowed to read. Okay, the next number, okay, is for the group. Okay, so if you see 0, it means they cannot do anything. They cannot read, they cannot write, they cannot execute. When you see another O at the end, this last one, okay, is for others who are not the owners, who is not the owner and not part of any group. Okay, even them, they have a 0, meaning they cannot read, they cannot write, they cannot execute. So 400. So meaning the owner, first number owner 4 has a read, meaning they are allowed to read. Okay, and that's the permission which is required. Okay, so let's now continue. Since now I've explained that and you understand it. Okay, if you want me to go deeper into Linux permissions, you can tell me and I can explain them in detail. So let's log in again into the virtual machine. And there we are. So I can simply clear. Okay. The next step after this is now to clone our code from GitHub. So to clone the code, I will go to, I don't know if I can find my GitHub repo. Okay. Let me find a GitHub repo. Open this. Go to repositories. And come here to code, copy this. So I'm going to use SSH. Okay. So I'll say git clone. Okay. So I'll accept, I say yes. Okay. But it says permission denied. Okay. So I need to create an SSH key on GitHub to enable this. Okay. I mean, I have created an SSH key on this machine. Okay. To enable this. And there's a syntax for doing that. And I had it in my notes, you know, because these things actually are quite a lot. Okay. Sometimes you may not be able to remember them by your mind. Okay. So I'll clear again the screen and paste that command for creating the key. And I'm going to explain the command in a minute. So yeah, we're putting the key on our virtual machine on AWS. So the command is ssh keygen. Okay, so ssh keygen will create for us keys, a private key and a public key. Okay, then -t, this is the algorithm. Okay, then this is for some of the credentials. Okay, and what we're going to put here will be the email. Okay, so you can put your email. I'm going to put an example email I'm using for this. I'm going to change it now. So I'll delete all this. Okay. And put back the code. Say Nehemiah at Gmail. So when you're also doing this, you can also put your own. Okay. So that's the email. Maybe I need to zoom out a little bit for it to be on one line so that you can see what is going on. Then after that, I'll zoom in. Okay. So that is it. Okay. SSH keygen -t, the algorithm, then one of the credentials, okay, which is the email. Okay, this is the email. So I can now hit enter. Okay, and it's asking me where do I want to save the key. Okay, if you want to specify different location, you can. Okay, but for me, I'm happy with this default location. So I'll hit enter. Enter a passphrase I don't need. Okay, I'll leave it empty for no passphrase. I don't need any. It says enter the same passphrase again. No, I don't need any passphrase. Hit enter again and says it has been created. Okay, so they say the public key is, I mean the private key is in this location and the public key is in this location. Okay, so what we are interested in is the public key. Okay, and of course I am going to share mine right now, but don't share it to anybody. Okay, I'm going to share it and I'll delete it after this stream. Okay, so I'll say cat. Okay, cat slash home. So cat is a tool that can help us to see contents of the file. Okay, cat slash home slash ubuntu slash dot ssh slash id dot pub. Okay, so the one ending with dot pub is your public key. Okay, this other one is the private key. So the SSH keygen generates two keys, the private key and the public key, and it tells you the location, okay, where it has saved it. So I'll show you my public key and I'll copy it, but again, don't share this with anybody. Okay, I can say now clear. Okay, then after that I can go to GitHub. Okay, and come here to settings, GitHub settings. Okay, and then go to SSH. Okay, and then say new SSH key. Okay, I can say arrow bound ventures. Okay, then I paste it and I leave the key type as authentication key, and I say add SSH key. Okay, as simple as that. So now when I come back here, I'll be able to git clone. Okay, I need, yeah, so I can run that command. Let me try to find it. Where was the git clone? So you see, you're learning so many things, okay? And you need to practice this to master it on your own. So I can now clone, okay? So I've cloned my repository on this machine, okay? Now I can go back to the AWS and delete that key, okay? Because I know there are smart people on the internet who would want to exploit it, okay? So I've deleted it, okay? I won't need it anymore, okay? So now I can go into my directory, okay? I can say cd, maybe let me say ls, okay? ls to see the files, okay? To list everything in the home directory. I have it here, okay? Airbound Ventures from GitHub. Now I can change directory into it. I can cd. So cd changes the directory. I go into it. If I say ls for listing the contents in the directory, you see, I have the backend, frontend, mobile, shared. Then I'll say cd into backend, okay? If I say ls, you'll see we have everything, okay, of our FastAPI application, okay? So now we need to run it, okay? But to run it, we need Docker. Remember that, okay? We need Docker. So we need to install Docker, and we also need to install Docker Compose, okay? So our code is here safe from GitHub. So let us now install Docker. And I have my notes here to a link for installing Docker, okay? Here it is, okay? So these are the instructions for installing Docker, okay? I am going to copy this, okay? Simply copy this like this. Come back, go back to, where's the terminal? Here's the terminal, clear, okay? And I say, I'm going to use an inline editor, okay? Called Vim, okay? Maybe I can simply first of all come out of that directory for now, okay? And I say Vim, okay? So Vim is a terminal editor, okay? I'll say Vim script, okay? Script.sh. Why am I saying .sh? sh is the, just like in Python, we say .py to mean a Python file, okay? So sh is to mean a shell script, okay? That this is going to be a shell script. Just like .py is Python file, or .md for Markdown for your README, .sh is for your a script, okay? So I'm going to hit enter, okay? And to create an open Rust file, okay? Now to enter content into this file, I press I, okay? I, and you see below here it changes to insert mode, okay? I say I, and then I'm going to paste those commands, okay? Paste everything we got from the Docker website. After that, I'll press escape, okay? So you're going to see this insert word is going to disappear, okay? Escape. So when I press escape, we're back into command mode. Then I'll press full colon, okay? Look at the bottom. We have now a full colon. After full colon, I'll type W then Q, okay, to close this, to save and close this file, and hit enter. Okay? And there it is. Then after that, I'm going to make it executable. Remember, I told you about the Linux, how to give permissions. Okay, we use chmode. Okay, I say 700. Okay, and the 7 means I'm giving all permissions to the owner. Okay, script.sh, hit enter, and then I can say period / script.sh to execute. Okay, this is how you execute a file, and I hit enter. So it is now executing and installing Docker on the machine. Yeah, I find this pretty interesting. This kind of DevOps stuff. I don't know what you guys say, but I find it very, very satisfying to do this kind of work. So you see, it's fetching information and it's there. It says done. Okay. So we need to go back to the website to see the next instruction. And the next one says install Docker packages. So I'll copy this. Okay. Go back. Okay. And paste the command. Okay. After pasting, I'll hit enter. Okay. Says, do you want to continue? I say yes. Continue. Okay. Yes, Linus. This is very, very interesting. Okay. Like I promised you guys, we are going to do everything. Okay. Everything. I want everybody to see this. Okay. Everything. The API, the DevOps, the front end. If possible, we can even do the mobile app. Okay. I don't mind doing that. Yeah, very interesting. I'm starting to love DevOps, by the way. I'm starting to love DevOps. So yeah, this is it. It's now done. The next thing we need, what is it? We need now to verify, okay? So I copy this command, okay, to verify that Docker is installed successfully, okay? We wait, there, says hello from Docker. This message shows that your installation appears to be working, okay? So even without knowing so much about these commands, if you want to know what these commands are, I can explain to you in detail in the separate video, okay? But by simply following, okay, we've been able to install Docker successfully. Now, after installing Docker successfully, next thing we need to install is Docker Compose, okay? So I'll go back to another documentation. I have my notes here, okay? Again, don't feel weird not having this from your memory, okay? Just like you see me, I've done this for some time, but I'm still getting it from a list, okay? From a note. So I'll go to Docker Compose, okay? Let's now install Docker Compose. So to install Docker Compose, we can use the plugin. We can start by this, okay? By saying sudo update, okay? Sudo update to get the latest packages, okay? So I'll paste that, okay? So it simply updates the whole, can I call it the whole Ubuntu repository on our machine, okay? So it has not been updated. After updating it, we need now to run this final command to install Docker Compose, okay? So this command will install the Docker Compose plugin. So I'll hit enter, and there again, very fast. This is what I like about Linux, okay? Things happen very, very fast, okay? Imagine doing this on Windows, how slow it would be, okay? So there we are, okay? Then finally, we can now check, okay? We can skip this because we can skip this one. We're not doing this. For us, ours is Ubuntu, okay? And Debian. So we can now verify by using this command, okay? Click to copy, come here, paste, okay? There we are, Docker Compose version. So we have successfully installed Docker, okay? So now we can now build, okay, the image. So to build the image, I'll go into the backend directory, cd backend, okay? But remember, in our project, we have a .env, but here we don't have a .env. So let me clear the screen. I want to clear the screen, and I say ls, to list the files. You see, we have everything which we have been working with locally, okay? If I go to the editor here, you'll see we have everything except the .env, okay? So again, using that same editor called vim, okay? I'll say vim create .env, okay? So if I again, I'll repeat for those who have just joined. Vim is a terminal editor. Okay, so you say Vim and the name of the file. Okay, so I'll hit enter like that. Then I'll press I. Okay, you see it says insert. Okay, so then what you're supposed to do, you have to go to your .env file. Okay, and copy everything. So this is from .env.example. Copy. Okay, then I come here and paste. Okay, but me, I'm going to remove this. Okay, and I'm going to copy what is in my actual .env, but I don't have to share my .env on the internet. So I'm going to hide the screen for some time. Okay, copy from the .env and come and paste here. Okay, so let me start by first of all removing what is here. To remove, I can simply press escape. Okay, so you see the cert word at the bottom has disappeared. Then I press U to undo. Okay, so I'll press I. So give me a moment to hide my screen. Then I'll be back in very few seconds after pasting the .env. Yeah, so I am done copying and pasting the .env. Okay, now we are now almost ready to build this image. But there's something interesting I want you to see. Okay, something very, very interesting I want you to see. If you go to back to the machine we put it on AWS. Okay, this one here. Okay, remember when we put in the security group, we specified that the ports are port 80. Okay, port 80. Okay, but in our machine, if you go to our machine and I open for you compose. Okay, compose. You see, that's why you need to learn about Vim. Okay, Vim, just basic things concerning Vim. Okay, so I'll say Vim compose. Okay, to open the compose.yaml file and I hit enter. Okay, you see with 8,000 to 80. Okay, so I'm just going to change it to 80. Okay, to match. And again, I'll show you how to run it on still 8,000. Okay, this is the most tricky part, which also sometimes confuses me, but you need to follow it carefully. Okay, so I'll press I, be able to edit it. Okay, so you see down it has changed to insert. Okay, so I can now remove the zeros. Okay, remove the zeros and I leave it 80. Okay, port 80. So port 80 internally and also port 80 externally to the external world. Okay, then I'll press escape. So I pressed escape, then full colon W Q to save and come out. Okay, then now I can say sudo docker compose app space minus minus build. Okay, and hit enter, and there it is. Okay, I think now I look like those hackers in movies. Don't you think I look like those hackers in movies where you see black screen and things jumping around, colors, and you're like, oh my god, this is the baddest hacker in the world. And they should clip this and put in a movie. All right, you see, everything is now working. Okay, see, our application is running. Okay, but of course we need now to access it. Okay, to access it, we need to go back to AWS and I show you something. Okay, you see here it says public IP address. So this is the address we need to use to access the project on the internet. Okay, so just to show you what I was talking about, the rules. You see we have inbound rules and outbound rules. Okay, under this tab called security. Okay, and the inbound rules specifying the rules of incoming internet traffic. Okay, and outbound rules specifying the rules of outgoing internet traffic. Okay, and for now, you see we have this one here, TCP at port 22 is what enables us to do SSH. Okay, and 80 is for HTTP. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to edit this soon. Okay, so now we need to go to our public IP address to see that the application is running. Okay, but you can test it from within the terminal. Okay, here. But to do that, I need to close this I need to stop it, okay, and run it in a better way by saying, I'll say sudo docker compose, okay, app, okay, minus d, meaning detached. It will make it to run in background, okay. So it is running in background. So I can test our API by saying curl, okay. Curl is a tool, like, imagine it's like a test client, okay, something like like a postman kind of thing, okay. And I paste the public IP address, okay. Take note of this, okay. If you go to AWS console, there's public and private, okay. So I picked the public, okay. Then I hit enter. There we are. It's working internally. Say message flight booking API. Isn't this awesome? I'm so happy. Sometimes you can come to AWS and things don't work and you end up crying, okay. So it is working. I recently deployed my first API backend on GCP. It was pretty easy using Docker. Says Jericho. Thank you, Jericho, for letting me know about that. I'll try GCP on my own. How did you deploy it on GCP? Because actually, AWS has maybe, like, I don't know, 15 ways or 17 or 20 ways of deploying like a Docker application or FastAPI application, because you can use EC2 like this. You can use their thing called is it ECS for their containers. You can use maybe Lambda. You can use Elastic Beanstalk. They have so many ways, okay, of deploying. Okay, Jericho says they used Cloud Run. Okay, I'll try that. Okay, I'll try GCP and Cloud Run soon, and maybe we will share with you here. Actually, we can actually try deploying on several platforms, like 5 of them, okay, to see the experience. Because even me, I would want to learn how to deploy on GCP, because I've never deployed on GCP. Yeah, thank you, Jericho, for that. That's great input. Okay, so the API is working. Okay, so we need to go to the browser. Okay, and maybe click this. So if I click, you wonder, you see, it's taking long. Okay, and there's a reason for this. Okay, if I come, maybe if I want to drag this aside and maybe delete these ones. Okay, it's taking long and there's an issue. Why? If I open this, okay, if I click this, look at this URL, guys. It is saying HTTPS. Okay, this is a problem. Okay, this is wrong. Jericho says, mind seeing my portfolio that I deployed. I would want your feedback on it. Yeah, it's okay. You can drop it in the chat. We can look at it at the end. So here what we configured, actually, if you look at the security groups, okay. If I come here to security groups, okay, and I click on maybe this, I say launch wizard, okay, where we shall be able to edit, okay. So I'm going to come here, then I click again on this security group ID, okay. Then here we shall be able to edit, okay. I'll come here to say edit inbound rules. Again, inbound rules are rules concerning incoming traffic to our machine, okay. So you see, we have SSH, you have HTTP. We don't have HTTPS. That is why this has failed, okay. So if I come here and I change this to HTTP and I hit enter, does it work? Voila, there we are. It works. It works, okay. So if I go to /docs, you're going to see our documentation. There we go, guys. Okay, we are live on the internet. Live on the internet, okay, with all our endpoints. Okay, and someone can come and try them out. Okay, can come here and I say, try it out. Okay, and I send a request. Of course, we know that this will fail. Okay, you see, we get a response from a server. Okay, so this is nice. Okay, but now we need to configure HTTPS. Okay, so this is not secure. Are you seeing? We need to compute whereby when we come here to this address and we click, okay, it works. So this is not working. So I'm going to come down here to the rules, okay, to the inbound rules. Okay, I want to show you how to add an inbound rule. Take note of this on AWS. I'll click add rule. So I'll delete, I'll say add role. So they have options here, custom TCP, and so many things. Okay, to understand all the things like TCP in your free time, research about something called OSI model. Okay, if you don't know what this is, I can explain to you maybe in that stream if you're interested. Okay, it's also another topic of its own. Okay, so I'll come here and I search for HTTPS. Okay, meaning allow HTTPS incoming requests to our application. Right now, our server or our machine does not accept HTTPS, only HTTP and SSH. SSH is what helped me to use the terminal. Okay, remember, I used SSH to access our application via the terminal. Okay, via port 22. And HTTP is what helped us to access our application via port 80. The default 80 is the default port for HTTP on the internet. And port 22 is the port and known port for SSH on the internet. So take note of that in your mind. If you see anything like port 22, it is SSH. Anything like port 80 is HTTP. Anything like port 443, that is HTTPS. Okay, so HTTPS is the secure one. Okay, then after that, I can come here and I'm going to share with you this in the chat so that you can also test it. Okay, so I'll choose custom. I can choose my current IP address. Okay, or which of course I know will change. Okay, or I can say anywhere. Okay, for now, since I wanted to test it, but I'm not even to change. Okay, so I'll leave that and I save the roles. Okay, so you be patient a little bit, and now you see we have a third inbound role in our security group. Okay, we have for SSH, HTTPS, and HTTP. Okay, so now we're going to try again. I can close this and come back here and click this link. Okay, says address can't be reached. Okay, meaning things maybe probably still setting up. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to try to rerun the app. Okay, so I'll come here and I say sudo. I want to turn it to lowercase. Sudo docker, not sudo like that. Okay, docker compose down. Okay, to stop them. Okay, then I can say sudo docker compose app. Okay, to rebuild. Okay, let me just rebuild it. Okay, let me say app -d. I hope this will work. And there we go. Okay, I like how the console was organized. Okay, the green color and the white and the purple or blue. Okay, so it looks like our content has started. So let's go back and try this again. Okay, looks like it's not working. Okay, and that's the issue about AWS. It can actually bully you. Okay, so let's go back to this role. Okay, and look at it carefully, just in case I've not seen anything correctly. So HTTPS, the custom will say anywhere. Okay, if I come back here, where is this? I have now so many windows open. I'll get confused. I need to close some. Let me close this one. I don't think I need TLD anymore. So I copy this. Okay, run. There we are. Okay, and it's okay. Actually, now I remember why it's not working. I remember why HTTPS is not working. Would need to configure what they call SSL termination. Okay, for this to work. Okay, but for SSL termination to work, you need, okay, to add this inbound rule for HTTPS. Okay, so at least you know how to add an inbound rule. Okay, if I do this, okay, I want to show you, say SSL termination. Okay, it is simply a way where you work with it. So look at this definitions. Let me read it. It says SSL termination, also known as SSL offloading, is a process of decrypting traffic, blah blah blah, at the network endpoint. Okay, let me not confuse with that, but let me just explain it by myself. Okay, what SSL termination simply means is you intercept incoming traffic. Okay, and you make sure that you have what they call a SSL certificate. Okay, which allows you to secure that connection. Okay, and by doing that, okay, you have HTTPS. Okay, so HTTP, but secured. So the S is for secure. Okay, hypertext transfer protocol secure. Okay, so in case you have that certificate, in fact, very soon I'll show you how to do that. Okay, and ideally it's good to do it at where a load balancer is. Okay, so we're going to work with, very soon I'll show you how to work with a load balancer and how to set up that SSL certificate and how to do SSL termination and to enable HTTPS fully. Okay, but this is a good first step. Okay, so I'll just remove it for now. Okay, and leave the rules as they are. Okay, but as you see, the one of HTTP is working pretty well and pretty nice. Okay, so what next do I want to show you? Okay, I want to show you how to work with it like on port 8000. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my terminal here. Okay, to the machine, and I clear. Okay, actually the first thing I want to do, okay, maybe let me first clear so that the screen is command not found. It has to be lowercase. Okay, so I can now do vim, okay, to open that compose file, compose.yaml. Okay, come here. How how have I how am I going to edit? By I pressed I. Okay, when I press I, you see below here, you'll see this insert, meaning we're in insert mode. Okay, so after that, I can now change this. I can type, add more zeros like that. So 8000, just like when we had it on our local machine. Okay, if I show you my editor here, okay, if we go to compose.yaml, you see it is 8000. Okay, so we want to replicate it also on the machine. Okay, so 8000, and then to get out of insert mode to save it, I press escape. So look down here, this insert is going to go disappear when I press escape on my keyboard. Escape, it has now disappeared. Okay, then to close and save the file, I type full colon. So you see there's a full colon which has appeared at the bottom here. Okay, after that I type W, then Q, and hit enter. So I've saved and I'm out of the file. Okay, I've updated the port to 8000 externally. Okay, so now I can now build, let's build it afresh. Okay, so I'll say sudo docker compose. Okay, so docker compose, then I say app, okay, minus build. Okay, and we leave it to do the magic. Okay, so this is a good first step, and actually going forward I'm going to automate. Okay, I'm going to set up a CI/CD pipeline whereby when we push the code to GitHub, okay, there's an action which runs, okay, a job which runs and deploys it automatically on AWS EC2, so that we don't have to do it manually. Okay, but you need to understand what is going on. Okay, this is a very good for actually like for your portfolio project, for your basic projects of your clients, where you don't need to have a CI/CD pipeline. Okay, this can work. Okay, so you see everything is working. Okay, so I can cancel this and I make it run in background. Okay, so to do that we use the same command, sudo docker compose, okay, app, and the same -d. Okay, but that -d will enable you to run it, but like in background. Okay, to not be, so that is for detached. Okay, it will be in background, so it's running. Okay, so we need, if we go back to where, let me look at my notes. Is there anything I forgot? Okay, looks like I'm on track. Let's go to back here. Okay, if I refresh this, you see it fails. Okay, it is not running. Who can guess in the chat, from what I've just done here, why is it not running anymore? And if you've understood the security groups, any guesses? Going once, going twice, any guess? It is because of the security groups, the inbound rules. Okay, we need an inbound rule which is going to allow port 8000. Okay, like this. Okay, so I'm going to come here and I say edit. Okay, edit inbound rules. Okay, meaning edit the rules for incoming traffic. Okay, and I'll add the rule. It will be custom TCP, and I'll specify the port 8000 that we're going to expect incoming traffic on port 8,000, but TCP, and which from which IP address? It can be from my IP address, it can be anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to say anywhere. Okay, on IP version 4. Okay, if it is an IP version 6 address, please specify like that. Okay, and again, you need to understand some networking to know the difference between IP version 4 and IP version 6. But simply IP version 4 is the most widely used version of IP addresses. Okay, and IP version 6 is the latest. Okay, to compensate for IP version 4, which is easily going to be depleted. Okay, so let's continue. Jericho says true CI/CD success depends far more on aligning organizational culture, branching strategy, and release governance than on Jenkins, GitHub Actions, or any tool you pick. Yeah, that's true. And actually, by the way, I think sometime we can use Jenkins and GitHub Actions, but yeah, I'll start with Actions because it's something I'm very familiar with, and then later also we can do Jenkins, but they all try to achieve the same goal. Okay, only that with Jenkins you need the server, and I just don't want to set up a server for that. But yeah, it is something good to learn because it's popular and really sellable because people use it a lot. Okay, so yeah, this is it. Now I need to save. Okay, and I'm probably hoping I should have first created the role, the inbound role, then gone to edit the port. Okay, so this is the role. So let's reload and we see there we are. Okay, so have this in mind. What enabled us to access the application on port 8000? Okay, so this is external, and we're trying to access port 8000 to an IP. So this IP is for the machine, the public IP. But we're saying using port 8000 externally, we want to have access to a machine running on port 80 inside. For that to happen, I had to edit the inbound rule. Okay. Again, inbound rules is for traffic coming into your server, your virtual machine. Take note of that. Then outbound rule is for traffic leaving. Okay. So yeah, we have that, and like you can see here, the different protocols you can use for accessing your machine: HTTP, HTTPS, SSH. Okay, and you've seen me use SSH and HTTP. Okay, and of course HTTP runs on port 80 by default. Okay, but you can change the port, like we're using 8000. Okay, and there we are with our project running. And again, like I can show you if you want to see, okay, the documentation. You can log in, register, okay, do anything. Okay, even from Postman, if I copy this, okay, I can go to Postman. Maybe this is big. Let me zoom in. Go to Postman. Where is Postman? Okay, then I come here to log in. Why isn't Postman doing this? What is it trying to fetch? Are you seeing this, what they call it, shimmer effect, trying to load what I don't understand? So I come here and it's stuck on this for some reason. Is the machine just hung? But I can click, I can delete things. Okay, so I'm wondering why it's freezing. Anyway, let's leave it. Okay, so you understand the whole goal. We can test better. Let's register a user. Okay, let's register a user, this person here called email. Okay, a user with this email and password. Okay, let's test it to show you that the actual application is actually working on the internet. So I'll come to try it out. Okay, this will be the email and this will be the password. Okay, so I can I can put my email. Okay, let me put this email, Nehemiah, okay, at gmail.com. Okay, and this is the password string, and I say execute. So you see, we have been registered successfully. If I go to the email, if I open the email, you should see an email I've received. Okay, and again we set up this. You see, this is the email. It says, welcome to Airbound Ventures. Hello, Kamolo Nehemiah at Gmail. Thank you for registering with us. We are excited to have you on board. Best regards, Airbound Ventures team. So it's working. Okay, very well. And using the same email, okay, the same email, I can now log in. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. So yeah, the password is string, I can close this, come here to login, click try it out, enter the username, okay, which we know of course is the email, okay, and I told you in the front end we shall simply rename this to email, okay. Then I enter the password, which is string, okay. Then I can come here and execute. So we have an internal server error, okay. So that is something maybe I would need to debug and know what's going wrong, okay. In fact, there's a way to check for what they call the logs of an application, okay. But that's not, I don't think that is something maybe I want to do now. So if I say docker ps, I just want to make sure that when an error happens, it does not break the system. So yeah, they're still running, okay. So I wanted to show you that it can work on Postman, but for some reason Postman is refusing to work. Maybe they want me to upgrade, okay. So you see, it works, okay. Everything is working pretty fine, okay. If I try to register another user, okay, I want to see what happens. Register user, see detail, email already registered, okay. So which means I have a bug on the login endpoint, okay, which is something of course I should be able to fix, okay. And yeah, we'll see how to fix that, okay. So if I execute again, internal server error, this is actually okay, in case anything goes wrong on the API, you want to get an internal server error, okay. If you go to another endpoint, I don't know, search flights, of course this is wrong data, okay, but we can try using what we have in Postman, okay. Let me go to Postman and copy, but my Postman is not loading. I wonder why it's being so stubborn. If I click home, okay, let me say confirm, close this, my workspace, okay, we are back, okay. So let me show you quickly, okay. From this one, get, I come here to the body, okay. Just let me copy this kind of information, okay. Let's go to here, okay. So let me click try it out. So we want to go from London to New York. And by the way, we need an endpoint, okay, which displays these locations. It is something I haven't implemented yet. Departure, I want to see the format of departure. Let me copy this and paste, okay. Then we need to change, I can leave it like adults 2, max results, okay, let's say 5 for now, okay. So let's say 2, give us only 2, okay. The rest are optional, and we want, of course, USD. So I'll click execute and wait and see whether it works in the cloud or not. And there we are, working perfectly fine. We get a response body, type flight offer with the ID, okay. We have itineraries, okay. And have some segments, okay. The departure, the IATA code, the terminal at the time, the arrival, IATA code, terminal, okay. The number of the carrier, the code of the aircraft, okay. The duration, okay. The number of stops. Interesting. Then we have the price, okay, in dollars. Pretty interesting. I think our API working perfectly in the cloud. So yeah, for your simple project, you can follow exactly what I have done, and you can deploy your project for free, okay. So just to show that it works in FastAPI, and I'm not trying to trick you for anybody who hasn't yet believed. So I'll just maybe duplicate this endpoint, okay, and rename it. I'll call it login brackets brackets AWS EC2. Let me put EC2 just to know, okay, because later I might change it. I might have also a GCP, okay. So I'll come here and I want the URL, okay. Where is the URL? Copy this public IP, okay, and I come here, do this, okay, in slash. Actually, let's try search flights, okay, because we remember login has issues, okay. If I say get, we expect a response. What was the actual address? Okay, so it is slash token. Okay, slash token. Question is, will it pick? We need the actual address. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to click here. Okay, and change. Of course, this has to be HTTP. Okay, HTTP at port 8000. Okay, this is the correct thing. So I'll copy all this, copy it, go to Postman, remove this part, paste like that. Right? Remove that forward slash and hit send. Okay, and there we are. It actually works. Okay, tells us unprocessable entity 422 error. Okay, saying we are missing the username. Okay, we are missing a field in the body called password. This is acceptable and correct. It's working. Okay, so I want to duplicate another one. Let's do this on each one for searching flights. Okay, I get excited about these kind of things when I see this the actual information working. So yeah, there's a lot that is going to happen in this project, like I promised you. Okay, DevOps, things like catching. Let me say get dash AWS EC2, because I know there could be a better way of naming this. Okay, so I'll come to this endpoint. Okay, just save, cancel this. Come here. What's this one here? Close this. Zoom out a little bit. I'm looking for space. I want to copy this endpoint. Okay. Even the way that we're naming our endpoints will improve. Okay. I close this. Come to this and change. Okay. Change this base URL to this. Okay. And then if I can hit now send. Okay. So it's whether we are using Postman, whether we are using, you see, we get a 200. Okay. With the data. Okay. So yeah, this has been a very fun experience. And for those who want to test, okay, let me give you the IP address. The whole address in the chat. So let me find YouTube quickly. Rather, actually, I can type it on this other side. Wait, how can I do this quickly? YouTube. I find my account and go to live. Okay. Pause it, then I can paste it. Okay, so those who want to try it, you can try it right now. Okay, before I take it down. I'm going to take it down after this video. Okay, so I don't know if anybody has any question concerning what I've showed you today, but I've enjoyed this and I'm starting to love DevOps even more than backend stuff and whatever. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah, so this is it. Thank you, Jericho, for being an active participant. Thank you, Linus, for being an active participant too. And yeah, welcome back, Linus, to the series of building a flight booking application using FastAPI. And like I told you, you're going to go all the way to the front end, to the DevOps, like you've seen. This is the step, okay? Learning and failing together, iterating, changing things here and there, okay? Until we build a wholesome, complete application. So tomorrow we shall be back to building, okay? The number of features we need to build. Tomorrow we need to tackle the seat maps, okay? Seat maps. We need to talk about city search, because how will someone users don't know these codes, okay? If we go to search, they don't know loan, they don't know NYC. Okay, so they need to be they need to type maybe London. Then under the hood we fetch loan and show but on the front end we shall show them London, but under the hood the actual value is loan. When they look for New York, we shall show them New York, but under the hood it must be NYC. So we should have that endpoint to also work on. So if we do that, NYC, I mean this flight search, the seat map, we need to be able to record savings, I mean booking information. Okay, then we also need to do payment. After doing payment, we need to implement caching. After implementing caching, we need to implement what is it called? We need to implement I forget. We need to implement rate. Okay, yeah, for the MVP. But even before that, we can simply do, yeah, for the MVP those will be enough. or actually even for the MVP, we can do only one more thing. The things that which we can do before we go to the front end: sitemaps, city search, and caching. Okay, to reduce on the costs somehow. Then we can make the front end consume the back end. Okay, and host the front end also. Then after that, we now add some more features. Okay, on the back end and doing things concerning security. And in the middle there, I'll have to come up with CI/CD. There are AI integrations I want to do, but they're going to come later. Okay, they'll come later. And after that, yeah, once the MVP is done, I need now to test it on the market and then start growing and scaling on from there and there. Yeah, so I'm excited. Like I told you, yeah, till the end. Those who joined the journey from the beginning, yeah, you saw me learning FastAPI live with you here. 31 days. Okay. And here we are on the 10th day of now building a project. This is my first project to build using FastAPI ever. Okay. So yeah, I'm here to learn, fail, unlearn, fail, get better. Okay. In FastAPI and yeah, the whole web stack. So yeah, thank you all I hope you've tried it out and you've seen that it's working. Thank you all for joining today, and I'll be ending the stream now. So yeah, watch out for an announcement for the next stream, and yeah, catch you soon. So if you think this is nice and you're learning from it, yeah, please share it, okay, with everybody else. Bye for now.